want to say thank you for my audience, live audience here. All right, so tonight's spotlighted, we're going to be talking about January 2022 update. So, and we're also going to be covering a little bit about our upcoming guest, Mr. Terry Bennett with First National Bank. He's going to give us some insight regarding the market itself. Now, I think he'll be on next week, so keep an eye on it. If you have any questions that you would want to get answered by one of our experts, send your email to info@premiercastlerealty.com/spotlight and give us a question, maybe a comment, but also like us on social media. So here we go. Let me talk to you about Mr. Bennett. So Mr. Bennett is him and I. We actually worked together for quite a bit now. He actually was working as an agent when I became an agent here in the DFW area, and it's been a while. And since then, he's gone into lending, and he's done quite well for himself. I use him as a resource all the time. My clients love him. As a matter of fact, I just refinanced my home with him. So I think he's a great team, part of our team, and he's going to treat you just as well. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get this started, Johnny. Take it away. Okay, so the biggest question that we get nowadays is how is the market? And I'm not really sure. Sometimes I'll ask, and we get together in conversation. Maybe as a seller trying to figure, okay, what is the market doing? Or maybe as a buyer thinking, okay, is it too expensive to buy right now? I'm not buying at the high. And I can tell you that if you're trying to time the market, you're gonna miss out. Okay, there's no better time to buy or sell than when you need to. Just that's the bottom line. So in the next 20, 30 minutes, I want to go over several factors that are going to actually help you with the market itself. And we're going to be talking about, important things that are happening in the market. Like, for example, we're not, and I don't want to bury the lead story and keep you to the end if you don't want to stay, but okay, it's very important that you stay because we're going to be talking about interest rates. We're going to talk about home inventory. We're going to be talking about forbearances. We're going to be talking about maybe some foreclosures in the market. And the big king subject is not only equity but home inventories. Okay, so again, low inventory, high demand. That's the name of the game as we go through this particular year. So I wanted to kind of give you some insight from some experts. So we've taken this presentation here and put it together to help you understand what's happening. So here we go. Okay, so that was some of the subject matter experts in the nation, and I wanted to have highlight Mr. Bill McBride, the founder of Calculated Risk. He states that it's possible the rising mortgage rates would, if you've been thinking about buying, you've been hearing about the interest rates going up, that it might slow the market down or that the Fed might raise the rates sooner than expected due to recent pickup in inflation. You pay more for gas, food, and everything else. But I do believe one thing is certain: inventory will tell the tale, and that's been really the reality across the different years. As we go in this market, it's inventories are always letting us know what's happening. It's either one or the other. It's either a buyer's market or a seller's market. And right now, we're heavily in a seller's market, which means the low inventory. So with that said, the bad news is really when it comes to the market, it's a low inventory market. But that also gives us challenges and opportunities, and we're going to be talking about both of those in this presentation. I wanted you to hear from Jessica Lautz from National Association of Realtors. She was just interviewed in a news segment, and I want to hear what I wanted you to hear what she has to say. Here we go.
Jessica Lotz with the National Association of Realtors predicts the market will continue to be strong.
A lot of people moving out of New York, they're looking for more space. They want to be close to friends and family. And it really is a very strong seller's market.
Nationally, the median existing home sales price climbed 13.3% from a year ago.
Sellers are really happy right now, and they are having homes move very fast, and they're getting the price that they want.
She expects the momentum to continue in 2022, but says it will level a bit.
We're hoping it's going to go back to a more normalized pace in 2022. We are expecting that interest rates will go up a little bit. That'll push out some buyers who are on the fringe and really can't afford these rising prices and rising interest rates at the same time. Prices are probably going to continue to go up, just maybe not at this fast pace that they currently are.
If you're searching right now, she says find a mortgage broker who can move quickly if you want to put an offer in. And even though price may not be negotiable in this type of market, consult your realtor for other ways to make your offer competitive.
Have patience through this process because it may be long.
So the process may be long. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. You know, patience is a virtue. We've heard that all along. It's really important because as we go through this market, if you're a buyer, we're going through showings after showings after showings, making offers, not getting accepted, and then you finally get one accepted. So, those are the factors that it's just the reality of the game. And then if you're a seller, if you get your house on the market, then you also are looking at how many people are coming to show your house, because that's a leading indicator of how well you price your home and so forth. There's many strategies to talk about, too many to kind of talk to you about it in this presentation, but I wanted to touch on that. Quite often there's a lot of questions regarding you know what to expect, and that's really the speculative market right now. What's going to happen with the mortgage rates? What's going to happen with the Fed? What's going on with inflation? Also what's going to happen with coronavirus? Luckily nowadays it seems like there's a lot of states actually reducing their mandates and all that stuff, so that's going to open up the market even further. So hopefully that'll help us with inventory nationally here in Texas. If you're looking to sell your home, give us a call at 833-722-7853, because we're ready to help you out. Okay, so take a look at this. Okay, so overall, we think that the 2022 market will be another strong market for housing, albeit a little higher mortgage interest rates. I do think home sales will continue to rise, actually reached 16-year high in 2022. That's according to McClare Bolton Smith, the senior leader of research and core logic. So I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, what she's referencing here, some of the challenges and opportunities. So the challenge is that obviously interest rates may be going up. Well, actually, they are going up. So there's nothing maybe about it. And then the opportunities is that she's very positive about being a 16-year high in 2022. So what are they talking about? I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what the interest rates really affect, because it affects the market, but maybe not as much as you think. So this is graph shows you, homes sales not impacted by rising mortgage rates. This goes back all the way to 2006. I'm sorry, except for 2006. Okay, so if you look down at the bottom, you're going to see that it goes all the way down to 1989, 1995, 2000, 2005. Look at the numbers that you see, and also the line that's going across from left to right is the interest rates. So as you can tell, homes really have sold, and it hasn't really had an effect. And the other thing I want you to kind of take a look at is that the interest rates are lower now than it typically has been in the past. Just take a look at 2015. Take a look at 2010. We're still lower than that. And woo, look at 2006. I actually bought my house in 2006, and my interest rates were 8%, and that's with great credit and a fantastic job. So, you know, it's not going to affect us as much as people think. I believe that the market will continue to be strong. Now, the biggest factor that we have is that we continue to have a low inventory. Now, this has been true throughout probably the last 5, 6 years, but it's really relatively special today because we're just coming out of the pandemic and people are still a little bit afraid. The news is still scaring people regarding this coronavirus and what's happening around the nation. Luckily, right now, there's a lot of states that are dropping their mandates, and that's obviously good for not only the people but also for the market. If you take a look at national average, the inventories has been negative 26, no, negative 27. So those are the kind of numbers that you can see how that impacts the market itself across the nation. Now, in Fort Worth, we have a less than 1 month of inventory in the market. So that's how we are affected here. So when you look at the Idaho, for example, on this particular slide, Idaho has a 55% down. I'm not sure exactly where they live in, but most of the country in lighter brown color, somewhere between 15 to 30%. So, the sad story about this whole thing is that we may not reach our goals if we don't have inventory. So, but there's also an opportunity. One of the things that has been happening here lately since the shortages is that people are putting the houses on the market even sooner than expected. Usually the winter months are relatively slow, but right now we're pretty busy. Now what's going to happen in spring? I expect it to be very competitive in prices, and also it's going to be more competitive with offers. Hopefully, we'll get more houses on the market, and that will help a little bit, but the prices are still climbing. So, how bad is the market right now? So, inventory right now, we're heavily in a seller's market. If you take a look at the years 1999, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, woo, we had a dead cat bounce right there. Look at that. Shoom, that's because the inventories were sold, and there has been very low construction. New construction homes have been lagging, and so that continues to create shortages. Okay, and today we're less than 6 months of inventory, a very very high sellers market. So uh, when you think about months of inventory and home sales, we look at the national numbers. If you take a look at this one here, back in December of 2021, our months of inventory were less than 1 month. Okay, as you can see, this correlates with the previous slide. If you look at the years, it just basically after the pandemic, it actually started going down. That's because everything was selling, and then all of a sudden we are running out of inventory, and people are still out there looking for homes. So demand is high. Um, we talked about it as far as the coronavirus. That's another challenge. I can tell you that right on the onset of this pandemic, we were very busy. We were selling and buying homes for clients, and so we didn't have any issues with that. Uh, it was a little bit trickier because you have to take some precautions, obviously. But at the end of the day, the market was still very hot. So there was also opportunities there. So I want to give you, if you're thinking about selling a home in this market, I want to give you some tips that you may not have heard of, or maybe you have. So here's a little presentation that we put together. Okay, so we've talked about sellers. We're giving you some tips to how to prepare your home. Get ready for that. Give us a call if you have any questions at 833-722-7853. We'll be glad to help you. So now is the other side of the coin is to sell a home, there's got to be a buyer. Now, right now, there is a lot more buyers than homes. So we have strong demand. That's the big key factor here. Most of our sellers are receiving multiple offers. Now, keep in mind that if your home is in great condition, it's in a great location, and it's priced right, then that's where multiple offers come in place. Now, if it's not, and you're not in a great condition, and you need some help, it might not get all those offers that you're looking for, but it still will sell. Okay. Now, buyers are frustrated because of the amount of offers they've had to make during this shortage of inventory. And so we put some tips together for them regarding getting pre-qualified, which is actually essential. We really don't work with buyers that are not pre-qualified, and sometimes that gets under their skin. But I'm sorry, if you're going to the mall, if you forget your wallet and you can't buy, then you're wasting your time. So don't waste your time and get pre-qualified, because especially in this market, if you're not ready to buy, you're losing. So you've heard that old saying, snooze you lose. That's exactly what happens here. So how do we dictate, or not dictate, but how do we kind of consider what's happening in the market as far as showing? Okay, so you know this we use this company called Showing Time to make appointments. Okay, and what they do is they schedule appointments with sellers. So this slide shows us that we have still strong demand as of last November, which is typically a slow month. If you look at all the way to the left, November was pretty high regarding the amount of showings that were being scheduled. So that helps us understand, because this is a leading indicator of the market activity. One thing that we got to know is that showings equal sales. If you're not showing, you're not selling. So that's the key. If your home is not being shown and people are not coming to see it, then there's a problem. It's either the price, the condition, or the location, or it could be all three. So you got to price your home accordingly. Um, a lot of times people over update their home, and it doesn't correlate with the market in there, or what you think is good for you may not be good for somebody else. So there's also a factor of design and different issues with the home. So I want to show you this slide real quick. So the amount of the amount of showings have crushed. Take a look at the 2017, 2018, 2019. These, 2017 and 2018, I probably consider the normal years, maybe even 2019. 2020, look at that. The amount of showings actually went up from 107 to 156. And in 2021, 175. So we do expect to have strong showings in 2022. So showings traditionally lag during the holiday seasons, but the data we're seeing tells us that buyer demand has remained strong. The fact that every region showed a year-over-year increase indicates that buyers are undeterred. It speaks to the desire to keep searching for a home, and basically that's according to Michael Lane, VP and General Manager of Showing Time. And I can tell you, I use Showing Time all the time, so I know that if I'm not getting appointments on my home, there's a problem, and it's usually the price. So those are the kind of things that happen. So what's happening with this slide? So I just wanted to kind of show you that, because buyers are ready to purchase, and they're all mostly pre-qualified. If you're not pre-qualified, then you're losing out, because even if you like a home and you wouldn't put an offer, the seller will not consider that with either a pre-qualification letter or proof of funds if you're buying cash. So get pre-qualified. So to be competitive, what we've done is actually put this little presentation together for you so you can think about what to do as far as getting pre-qualified. Here we go. Okay, so that kind of gives some insight in regards to the process and why you get pre-qualified. I wanted you to know that, right now, there's no doubt that there's buyers out there and they're looking to purchase a home. They're in. maybe one of the driving forces is that they've heard about this interest rates going up, and they say, you know what, we better do something before they really go up and it's unattainable. And that could happen. The last time we talked to David Mendez, we talked about the what could happen if somebody gets, the interest rates too high, and then now the debt to income ratio will not, help them with purchasing the home, so they could get disqualified. That's exactly what could happen. So I want you to think about this though. The big factor in this whole thing, besides the bad news of low inventory, is what's happening with people's equity. Equity is through the roof. So let me show you this. Okay, so according to Frank Martell, president and CEO of CoreLogic, not only have equity gains helped homeowners more seamlessly transition out of forbearances and avoid the stress sale, but they also enable them, many of them, to continue to build their wealth. You know, Equity may be the greatest part of somebody's net worth. Okay, so I want to ask you a question. What do you get when you sell your home? You get the equity. Okay, but if you're renting, what do you get? If you're renting, you basically get the deposit, and that's a maybe. Okay, so it is very interesting to know that buying is actually cheaper than renting in most states. Okay, so just kind of want to give you an idea of what's happening with the equity rates. So you may not even have talked to somebody regarding the equity, but across the board, the national average increase between quarter three of 2021 and quarter three of 2020 was $57,000. But I want to show you a slide that's going to just blow your mind. Check this out. CoreLogic third quarter home equity report. Average home equity gains in U.S. homeowners with a mortgage, $57,000. Okay, year over year percentage increase in equity for the U.S. homeowners with mortgages, 31.1%. Year over year total increase in equity for U.S. homeowners with mortgages, 3.2 trillion. This summer, home prices growth reached the highest level in 45 years, pushing equity gains to another record high. And I would say through the roof. So, you know, that's something that you got to think about when you're thinking about, the lease. I'm not the lease, but the equity in your home, because that would help you to really uh, help you with your net worth. Okay, so I wanted to show you that because I wanted to make sure that those of you who do not understand equity get a little bit of glimpse of what's happening with that. So, according to Odeta Kushi, deputy chief economist with First American, U.S. households own 36.8 trillion in owner-occupied real estate. Okay, 11.5 of that is in debt, and the remaining 25 trillion is in equity. Okay, so inflated adjusted terms, homeowners had an average of $294,000 in equity in quarter three of 2021. This is a historic high. Okay, so again, going back, so there's a lot of people that think, well, I'm not sure if I want to buy or I want to sell. I'm sorry, buy or rent. And the real question is, you know, even though the mortgages are on an upward trend, you're still going to be making money. Okay, because at the end of the day, prices are still rising, even at record highs. They're continue to rise. I'm going to show you a slide here that a lot of people are talking about regarding the rate of increase. Now, Even if you look at the rates that we're looking at here for mortgage projection, even if we're at 4%, that's still low compared to relative decades of interest rates that I've shown you in the beginning. So don't worry too much about that. Okay, you're still going to be in a good situation later on. Okay, so what do we expect for 2022? The reality is the housing market's still going to be strong. We're looking at inventories numbers still a little bit low, but at the end of the day, we still need to sell those homes. And if you're looking to sell, this is a really good time to do so. Um, During the pandemic, there were some issues where with forbearances, but right now it's under a million, so it's not even a big factor. It's only 1.6% of the active mortgages, and guess what? Every single one of them, or mostly every single one of them, have high equity numbers. So even if you get into trouble where you need to kind of pay this back, if you're thinking about selling, we can help you get out of that home. You can have some, all of that equity, and you can actually be in a better place for tomorrow. Now, the other thing that we're talking about too is foreclosures in 2022. There is an uptick, but we don't expect to see big increases. We expect delinquency rates overall on a home mortgage to actually continue to remain quite low. And that's according to McClare Bolton Smith, the senior leader of research at CoreLogic. Again, if you're thinking about have that you might be getting into problems with your mortgage, it's time to sell, because guess what? If you think, well, I'm not going to pay the bank any more money, we're just going to let it go, that's a big mistake, especially if you have, on a national average, $54,000 in equity, you know, and that's a lot of money that you're just going to give away. I've sold homes here in the DFW area that people have made over $300,000 when they sold their home. Okay, so there's no way that you should let the bank, if you're running into problems, and it's a very small, very small group of individuals. But if you're running into problems, give us a call at 833-722-7853, and let us help you help yourself, and let's sell that home. Okay, so prices. Now you may be thinking, well, I'm renting now. I'm okay with this price, but on a national average, rentals have gone up. And are you tired of of renting yet? Because right now, even though the prices are going up, it looks like it's gonna be plateau or maybe peak. I think it's just gonna be deceleration, okay, in appreciation, not really a lowering. I don't see it going back down under 5%. I mean, this chart here starts at 10%. So if you look at that now, if you look at July, it was like at 20% almost of appreciation. So I don't see it coming down all the way down to 5. But that's what's been forecasted, 5.2%. But that's not all the way down to 5. That's a 5% increase. So we're probably talking about 25. So keep that in mind. Okay, so forecasts are up leveling to 5.2 because it's really low. I don't even think that's realistic. But you know what? We'll see what happens at the end of the day. So we talked about foreclosures. Okay, so 2022, it's for you to rent or buy. So overall, I do think that 2022 will be another strong year for housing, according to McClare Bolton Smith, the senior leader of research in CoreLogic. She further goes to say, albeit a little bit higher mortgage rates, that's okay. It's not as high as previous years or decades. We do think that home sales will continue to rise and actually reach a 16-year high in 2022. This is still better than renting. Okay. So, for those of you that are renting, we put together a short presentation about renting to help you understand, what the differences are. So, here we go. So as you can tell, rent continues to go up, and owning a home continues to give you stability. Not only because the home is yours, but also because your rent, your payment doesn't change. Okay, it doesn't change every year. Usually, people buy in a fixed rate, so that means that the only thing that can really change in the price is either your insurance or your taxes. Okay, your principal and interest they remain the same. So those are the kind of factors that you need to consider when you're thinking about selling. I mean, renting. At the end of the day, whether you rather get the equity, almost $57,000, or just the deposit that you made. Okay, big question. That's a lot of money. So don't forget, we have Terry Bennett coming up with First Financial. He's going to be talking about, the market. He's going to give us some insight from his perspective. And again, we bring these experts in so that you can understand what's going on. If you're looking to reach us, you can contact us at 833-722-7853. Our email is info at Premier Council Realty. Our websites are premiercouncilrealty.com or co. uh, you know, Hook us up with social media likes, follow us. Our social media are at the bottom of the screen. And if you're looking to buy or sell, we have some seller guides we would love to get in your hands. So here's a presentation about that. I want to say thank you for staying to the end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us a call at 833-722-7853. Here's the seller's guide samples, and then I'll see you in the next time. Thank you. Bye bye.